Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
You guys up for a toga party?
Toga! Toga!
I think I like the idea, Who.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
You talking to me? Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Hey, Sarah! Hey, Sarah!
Welcome to Classic Movie Night with your hosts, Anna and Sean Allen. Today we'll be recording the episode for Death Becomes Her, which is a 1990-something classic.
Amazing intro. We're totally using that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi, Anna.
Oh no, we're really using it?
You don't want to?
We can. I was just riffing it there, but okay.
Riffing it indeed.
I was doing that for you. But that's fine. We can use it if you want to use it. Well, I just watched 2.5 episodes of Severance.
How'd you like that?
I enjoyed it. I usually get like kind of anxiety lately when I'm watching stuff on my own, but that show's intriguing enough not to matter too much.
Yeah. I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't watch them together.
Well, because of your work schedule, Sean and I don't have time to watch TV together anymore. So
Barely.
that's been interesting because I watched the majority of what I would watch with you.
Yeah.
And now if I want to watch TV, it feels like a very conscious decision.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've my new work schedule, I don't get off till midnight, so, and now that we're doing this podcast more often.
Yeah. We're actually doing this at like 12. It's 12:19 right now. Because Sean just got off of work.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry I started off a little bit slow. I was kind of gathering my notes up a little bit, but let's all give a round of applause to Anna for that amazing intro.
I didn't know if we were recording or not. I just went for it. I didn't have the script in front of me though, so I didn't know what to say.
That's okay. I'll fill in the gaps once we get into it.
Okay.
Okay. But, so this episode's coming out just a couple days later than normal because I decided to take a little bit more time and get the audio set up a bit better. Right.
We've been a little tired this week too at night.
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
But tried to clean up the audio and got some new cover art.
Yeah, Sean, I really like the art that you made.
Glad you like the new art.
Yeah. I think it's a little more us.
Yeah.
We really like gold.
Gold.
And yeah, it just feels a little better.
But yeah, there's not a whole, okay, I guess, well, when did that happen? Yeah, that just happened. We took our first vacay, just the two of us, without Owen.
Right.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
That we've gone somewhere without Owen.
Yeah, that was our first time. We went to the beach. It was really nice. Very relaxed. Actually, we pretty much slept.
We slept a lot.
Like 70% of the time.
We didn't even go to the beach.
We saw the ocean for a second.
Yeah.
We said hi to the ocean as we were leaving town.
For context, though, it's a beach that we go to frequently.
Yeah.
So, but just to get away, sleep, kind of recharge a little bit was nice.
Yeah.
And we both had stress dreams about Owen.
Yes, we did.
about being gone.
I had a dream where I saw the ghost of myself and had a conversation with her, and she tried to lead me somewhere, and
It's so spooky.
she wouldn't tell me who she was. She just gave me a cheeky kind of look. So that was a good dream.
Nice.
She was me, though. When I woke up, I was like, that was me. Events this last week, not much. I brought a shelf from upstairs to downstairs for my plants so they can have life again.
Yeah.
And have the light that they need. That was the main event.
I got $1 Million Baby to take our bed frame back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you order from Da Vinci baby stuff, and it's a headache if you need to return something.
Yeah, and we needed to return something because the product was faulty, so...
Yeah, it didn't even... You couldn't even build it.
Yeah, like the thing that we bought was not a thing.
Yeah.
So that was a letdown, but... Anyway, let's get into the movie.
Ready to get into the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to move on to movie wiki stuff.
Well, maybe you should say correctly what you're... You know, like the normal intro stuff.
I kind of covered in the movie wiki stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
It works.
Okay.
So this week's movie that Anna chose is Death Becomes Her, which she mentioned. And it's a 1992 American...
No, you chose this movie.
I chose this movie.
Yes, you did.
That's right, because of Bruce Willis.
Right.
My bad.
We watched this in honor of Bruce Willis.
We did. And do you have any of the trivia about other actors who were up for the role?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I have one.
And- Okay, Anna will touch on that, but I found it kind of interesting.
Well, why
Anyway.
don't you just read what you have? Because that would give me...
I don't have it written down. I just remember reading it.
Do you remember who it was?
Vaguely, no.
Okay, I'll just read it then.
Okay. Death Becomes Her is a
Sorry, guys.
is a 1992 American satirical black comedy fantasy film directed and produced by Robert Zemeckis, which was a big thing that caught my eye with this movie. Not only did I want to watch a Bruce Willis movie because of his announcement of his retirement, but also it was a Robert Zemeckis film, and I love his films. So, you love his films.
Yes. I did not love this one. But we'll get into that.
It was written by David Cope and Martin Donovan. It stars Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn as rivals who fight for the affections of the same man, Bruce Willis, and drink a magic potion that promises eternal youth but causes unpleasant side effects. It was released on July 31st, 1992, to mixed reviews from critics.
Which I could see that.
Death Becomes Her was a commercial success, though, grossing $149 million worldwide on a $55 million budget. I mean, for that kind of a movie, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
If that movie, even
Especially in the 90s.
Yeah, if that movie came out today in theaters, I don't think it makes that much money.
Right.
The film was a pioneer in the use of computer-generated effects. It went on to win the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah, it beat Batman. That was one of my trivias.
Was it?
Yeah. It was
Batman Forever?
Yeah. No,
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, yeah. The one with Penguin.
Okay, Anna. It's time for...
Trivia.
Oh, what am I even doing here anymore? Anna has it.
All right. Normally I try to scroll down a bit, and start from the bottom and work my way back to the top because they put the most interesting trivia first. But I'm not going to do that today because my phone's being weird and it won't let me scroll backwards for some reason. So, here we go. This one is really funny. A pneumatic bra was built to create the effect where Meryl Streep's breasts become higher and firmer after drinking the potion. But the effect didn't look realistic enough. In order to get the shot, Streep's dresser stood behind her out of sight of the camera and pushed her breasts into position.
Oh, that's funny. That's pretty good. Trivia.
At one point, Lyle, is it Liesl or Lyle? I think it's Liesel because it's the female character. It's Isabella Rossellini.
Oh, okay.
She asks Madeline how old she thinks she is. Madeline answers 38, and Liesel gives her a dirty look because Isabella Rossellini, the actress, was 39 years old at the time of filming.
Oh.
So that's pretty great.
So that wasn't scripted then?
I don't know. It doesn't say, but that's what I got from it too.
Oh, okay. Trivia.
Meryl Streep accidentally scarred Goldie Hawn's cheek with a shovel during the fight scene.
Really?
Yeah, she broke her face.
Oh man, it looks so bad too, that fight scene.
Yeah, it was not worth a face scratch.
No, definitely not worth a face scratch.
I felt like it was supposed to look bad though. That part.
I mean, it's just.
I mean, we're seeing their shadows fight for most of it.
Yeah, I don't think they're too worried about the choreography.
Yeah.
They were probably just like, don't hurt each other.
Yeah, and then they did.
And then they did, yeah.
Because you don't play with shovels, kids.
That's true.
They should have been using props, especially for the shadows.
I imagine that they weren't props.
No, it was a real shovel. She hit her face with it.
Damn.
Yeah. This is a good one. Helen drinks the potion on October 26, 1985. You know what day that is, Sean?
October 26, 1985?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Back to the Future year?
That is the present date in Back to the Future.
Nice.
Which was also directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Yes, it was.
In the former film, it is the day that Marty McFly went back to 1955. So it's basically saying, like, in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Trivia.
In a UK television interview, Meryl Streep was asked about this uncharacteristic role, and she replied that it was too original to pass up.
Okay. Fair enough. It's a pretty original role.
Okay, here's one that I noticed while we were watching it. The three main characters' names are a play on words. Madeline, Ernest, and Helen can be shortened to Matter or Matter in Hell. And I caught on to it because the girls call each other Mad in Hell.
Yeah.
During the movie. So when I read that, I was like, yep, I know. But you look like you didn't catch it, so
I didn't catch that.
I'm glad I read it.
Yeah. Trivia.
Bruce Willis replaced Kevin Kline as Ernest.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I also read that there was a couple other people like that they kind of wanted for it, but they didn't pan out either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I kind of liked Bruce Willis in it though.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah. It was funny though because while I was watching this, I kept thinking about Looper and like how far he's come since this movie.
Looper.
I know Looper came out like 10 years ago, but I really like that movie.
Yeah.
So I just was like, this is not the same genre as anything.
Well, I don't think you ever really see him play. Does he really play? He doesn't play many characters that are like kind of like buffoonish, which he is in this. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Like, yeah, you don't see him play many characters like that.
Yeah.
If like,
well, he's such a confident guy. It's weird to see him in such an unconfident role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, I have a few more.
Trivia.
The former client Isabella Rossellini's character refers to when she uses the quote, she says, I want to be alone. It's the film legend Greta Garbo, which Sean and I did not get that reference while we were watching it, so I was glad that they wrote that there. I don't know who Greta Garbo is.
Who is it?
I don't know. Do you?
No.
We don't have to look it up right now, but
Greta?
that's something that maybe we should look into.
How do you spell that?
Greta?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Garbo.
Arbo?
Sean's Googling her.
Greta Garbo was a Swedish-American actress regarded as one of the greatest actresses to ever grace the screen. She was known for her melancholic, somber persona. Her many film
Just
kills
read
of
it, Sean.
tragic characters, and for the subtle and understand performances. What was she in? That was so like, oh my god.
I've definitely heard her name before. I haven't seen anything. This is why we do this podcast, guys, so we have the opportunity to learn things like this. No, I do not.
She was big in the 30s, looks like. 20s and 30s.
Oh, Anna Karenina.
Okay.
That's a title that I recognize.
It's kind of at a weird far angle for me from how I'm sitting, so I can't really see them that well.
No, there's one called The Temptress, I think, that I've heard of before. That's it.
Okay. But they made it sound so what that was like her final public words or something like that?
Oh, I don't potentially.
Okay, because it said that she was born in 1905 and died in 1990. Well, just 2 years before this movie was made.
I mean, if we don't know who she is, though, she probably did stop acting.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what she was meaning.
Yeah.
In the movie. Okay.
She had a whole life after acting.
Trivia.
In an interview, Meryl Streep revealed that she assumed the role of Helen, Goldie Hawn's character, was meant for her, not the song and dance role of Madeline.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Which I can actually kind of see. But I'm glad that she was the character that she was, though.
Yeah. Trivia.
The song that Meryl Streep performs in the opening scene is a play by Tennessee Williams called Sweet Bird of Youth. So that's a thing.
Okay.
Tennessee Williams is a really famous playwright.
Yeah. Heard the name. Not familiar with the work.
About the same here. But at Powell's we had a whole section of their stuff.
I don't know why that jogged my memory of something when we're at the beach. We went out to dinner, and on the way back to where we're staying, we stopped at the store just to grab a few things. And I swear I went through a time warp. It was like an old country supermarket that felt like I was in the 80s or 70s. Everything was super old school in there. And they were playing music from like the Music Man and like super classical music and everything. I don't know why that just made me think of it, but I didn't even tell you about it. I meant to tell you about that.
That's funny that you mentioned the Music Man because I thought of choosing that for my next movie. I didn't choose it, but...
Have you seen The Music Man?
No.
I have.
Do you like it?
I was in The Music Man, Anna.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were in The Music Man.
I was a member of the Barber Shop Quartet. Thank you very much.
Should we watch it sometime?
In the 6th grade performance of the
I
music
feel
Man.
like since you were in it, maybe we should do that movie at some point.
Yeah. You got more?
Okay, so we covered this a little bit already, but the film won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, defeating Batman Returns and Alien 3.
Alien.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why.
I think of this movie and I'm like, but then I think of those movies and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's more just like you look back at you watch this movie now and the special effects don't hold up, right? But watching this in 1992 and seeing Goldie Hawn walking around with a hole through her stomach and her sitting on the couch and the shovel just going right through her, that was groundbreaking.
That was a mistake.
How was that a mistake?
I'll get there, but it's in my trivia.
Well, either way, it's just like...
But yeah, it was good.
The computer animation that they had on this movie for the time...
It was good.
Probably blew some people's minds.
It blew my mind a little bit because it was so like, blah, it was shocking.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's good for just as like a baseline for anyone listening who hasn't seen this movie. The film takes place over the course of 51 years from 1978 to 2029. For the 2020s, they kind of had it looked about like things look.
I mean, it was a very short sequence.
Right, and it was only out of like church. So.
Yeah. Trivia.
Thanks. I'm just finding my next one. Oh, I don't want to go too much into it, but there was an alternate ending for this movie, which omitted an entire character. So there was supposed to be Tracy Ullman, the actor, I'm not sure. They were supposed to have like a whole character in the movie, and they completely took that character out based on people's original reviews.
Were they only in at the end, or were they throughout the whole movie?
They took them out.
Huh.
They were still in the trailer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Trivia.
Oh, this one's good. The film was originally going to be a sequel to Tales from the Crypt. The latter film was a favorite Halloween classic for director Robert Zemeckis when he was a young man. I've never seen Tales from the Crypt. Have you?
Yeah, I've seen. Tales from the Crypt was basically just kind of like a bit more screwed up version of like a Twilight Zone or something. Mm-hmm. You know, like it was like anthology. I guess on like the shows, every episode was just one thing. That's how the Twilight Zone was. But the movies were typically anthology movies, if I remember right.
How does that work?
That means it'd be like it'd start off with the Crypt Keeper talking, and then he would they would tell a story for a third of the movie, a quarter or a third of the movie, and then they go back to the Crypt Keeper and then tell another story. I'm not sure if the original Tales from the Crypt was like that, but I know some of the offshoot or later ones were.
All right, I'll make this my last one.
Trivia.
In the scene where Helen sits down onto a shovel handle, she didn't sit in the way she was expected to, so the VFX people at Industrial Light and Magic had to morph the image to make it look like the shovel handle was going through her chest.
And
that wasn't planned.
So it's probably one of those like happy accidents, you know, because it looked really cool. I was like, whoa, really? They did that? For this time? Like, that surprised me.
Yeah, it was good.
Even though you could see, you could see the effects happening and stuff, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah. I will say for that part, I could not pay attention to what she was saying because she had a stick going through her. So
yeah.
Congratulations to the visual crew.
And that ends trivia.
There's a lot more on there, but I feel happy with that amount.
Broadway, 1978.
I feel transported.
So he opened with literally it says Broadway 1978, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then it's Meryl Streep doing the Broadway song, and people are hating it.
No.
People are getting up and leaving.
Were they?
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
I guess not.
Yeah, people were not liking it. And so when Bruce Willis's character stands up and starts clapping like crazy, you see people like looking at him.
Oh.
Like, what?
Right. He says she's sensational.
Sensational. And then we move to the dressing room.
It's Meryl Streep. Of course she is. Everybody knows that already.
We move to the dressing room and find out that he's a big fan of hers.
Right.
And then we get a little bit of backstory about how he's a plastic surgeon and she's a fan of his.
Right.
Because apparently he has
I think she says the line like, "Do I need you?"
Mm-hmm. And then Goldie's character is like, "Oh no."
Yeah. Well, she admits that she wanted to see if he could handle the Madeline test. Because all her boyfriends have been...
She steals all her boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at first I thought, okay, these must be sisters because obviously they have to live with each other. But no, they're just like fake friends that are rivals.
Basically, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Which for me, it's like, okay, both you know from the start, both these bitches be crazy. Basically. Because
I think
to me, if there's somebody that bothers you that much, if somebody steals, you know, one boyfriend from you, then they can, whatever. If you guys are friends, fine. They steal like all your boyfriends, and obviously at this point it's like enough that she's doing a test, then I think it's time to like let that relationship just go.
Yeah, maybe find a new circle of friends or something.
Yeah, like expand your world, Goldie.
Yeah, Goldie.
Helen.
Jeez. Helen.
Get it together.
Goldie Helen.
But also Madeline is just like she lives for it.
She loves it.
She wants to steal the boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like,
and then
I liked the ending for that reason.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the whole point. But
Yeah.
we'll get there.
And then we get this shot with Goldie's character explaining to Bruce, like, no, she's going to take you. And he's like, you're crazy. And a fast cut to them getting married.
Right.
To Meryl and Bruce getting married.
Right. Sean's like, oh, they got married, because it happens so fast.
Yeah.
It's like a clip of them just like leaving the ceremony.
My note was they got married with an exclamation point. And then 7 years later.
7 years later, Helen is a crazy cat lady watching videos of Madeline as an actress. It's like one episode where she just gets killed in the show, and she's just rewinding it, watching her die.
And you know that Robert Zemeckis loves his prosthetics.
Yeah.
So she's like, she let herself go, basically. So she's like in a big fat suit, and and he like really showcases it on camera.
Yeah, like she was pretty unrecognizable. It does not look like Goldie Hawn.
No.
And the police are knocking at her door and come to take her away to an asylum. Or what it ends up just looking like a regular psych ward, where like she's in a group and trying to get help and stuff.
My next two notes was she's arrested and in psych ward.
I wonder why would the police come to arrest her?
Because the landlord was out there too, and she hadn't been paying her rent.
Okay.
So they're like forceful. Now, I don't know if they would actually arrest somebody in that situation or just throw them out or whatever.
Right. She couldn't pay rent because she had to feed all her cats.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But and then while we're in the psych ward, you still realize how obsessed that she is.
Sean, what was she eating in that scene? You remember she like opened a can and was just eating white
I don't know.
stuff?
It looked like she was just like scooping up sour cream or something.
I know.
It was
To
weird.
me, my guess was yogurt.
Probably
But
yogurt.
you don't get yogurt from a can.
What do you get from a can that's in a white
It's just like white cream.
cream cheese, maybe?
Coconut milk?
I mean, this was 1992. Everything was in cans back then.
No dairy products are going to be canned.
92? Sure.
No.
Sure.
Sean,
I don't know what else it could be.
I don't know either.
Yogurt,
Maybe that's the
cream
point.
Cheese. My bet is on cream cheese.
That's gross. It did not look like cream cheese.
I mean,
Anyway,
ice cream?
let's move on.
It seemed creamier than ice cream, though.
Yeah, it seemed creamier
Could it
than
have
cream
been like-
cheese too.
Could it have been like a frosting?
Oh, that's a good guess.
Maybe a frosting.
Yeah, I feel like the evidence so far that we have about Helen at this moment is that it's frosting.
Yeah,
We're gonna go with that.
We'll go with that. Anyway, so she's obsessed with Mads. What was her short name in the movie?
Mad?
She called her Mad.
Yes.
We find out how obsessed she is with her. Basically, is what I'm saying in the psych ward.
Yeah, she has not let things go at all. And she decides that she's gonna kill her. And you kind of get the gist of that.
Yeah, because the doctor's like, what does she say? You need to
Eliminate
Yeah.
her.
something like that.
She's trying to finish her sentence and say, eliminate her from your life completely.
Yeah.
But all Helen is hearing is eliminate her completely
Then,
over and over.
7 years later.
Yeah, another 7 years later.
That's a 14-year gap right there. Breakfast in bed.
Right. Meryl Streep is now aging, and her same assistant brings her breakfast.
And she has her tell her, like she's looking younger every day or something like that?
Yeah.
Like she has to say that to her when she wakes her up?
Yeah, it's weird. The whole time I was watching this movie, I was like, I do not want to spend time with these people. I don't want to watch this movie. Like, because they're so, like, just self-involved, not very good people.
Mm-hmm.
Even the surgeon, like, he's kind of redeeming because it's Bruce Willis, but he's also just like, until later.
Yeah. Which we're introduced to him at this time period now with him passed out, drunk,
and
upstairs.
at this point, their marriage is done. Like, they're still married, but he asks the maid, no, not maid. She's like a
housekeeper.
House person.
Yeah, house person.
Assistant person. He asks her if it's awake.
Yeah.
Talking about his wife.
Yeah, that was my next note. He refers to Meryl as it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she answers back, no, it's awake, it's taking a bath.
She hates her too. Yeah, you could tell that she hates her too.
So that whole thing is kind of like setting the stage of like, okay, you don't like her at all. Don't like anybody. Basically.
And then we follow Bruce to what basically his current job is, which is dressing up dead people.
Yeah. He makes them look good.
So he went from like famous plastic surgeon basically to a morgue worker.
Later there's like an alluding that he had a bad surgery or something, and that's why he does this now.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even pick that up.
There was a hint. They didn't like flat out say it, but there was dialogue about it.
Yeah. And then my next note is weird therapy place.
Right, because doesn't Meryl go to the
She goes to
weird place that we never find out what it was?
Yeah, it's like, that's why I said weird therapy place. I wasn't sure if it's supposed to be some sort of like spa or.
It was very creepy, and the guy's eyes kept twitching.
Yeah.
One of his eye was very blatantly twitching.
Yeah, guy twitching eye. That's my next note, Anna.
Yeah.
That's how I wrote it. Guy twitching eye.
His audition for this movie was just, okay, let us see you twitch one eye. Like, really obviously. Mm-hmm. And they gave the role to this guy because he was the most convincing.
Well, he was the guy who gave her the card, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gives her a card and he's like, look, I didn't tell you this, but there's a secret place that you're going to go to and they're going to help you out because you need to look younger like me.
That's like him.
That's basically what was happening, even though he doesn't look young. But
well, it's supposed to like. It doesn't
the idea of what the potion does is not really said.
It's not. Well, she says at one point, like, you won't age another day. Mm-hmm. She says that when she's about to take it. But she actually, like, reverses.
Right.
So, yeah.
It seems like from person to person, the effects vary because.
They're a little vague on the magic.
We see Elvis later, and he looks like he's 45, 50. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Then we cut to when they're in the limo. And then they get I thought that they were showing up to a restaurant. I'm not sure what it is, but they're at the like book release for Goldie's character.
She wrote a book?
Yeah, she was signing books.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. It was her event that they were showing up to.
I knew that. I thought it was just like a party though.
No, I thought it was some sort of like release of a book or something because there's definitely a scene where she signed a book or two.
Okay. That's interesting.
And in here we learn the secret to Bruce's morgue business is spray paint to make them look.
Right. He's at the bar and there's a lady kind of like hitting on him and she's like, "What's your secret?" And he's like, "Spray paint." And he tells her that he spray paints all the dead bodies.
No, he did like her like mom or something like that for her funeral.
Right.
And so she was asking what his secret was.
Right.
Yeah.
But they were at the party together at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then she gets disgusted and walks away because how dare you put spray paint on my mother kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, I've heard what morticians, is that what their title would be? The people who actually dress up bodies.
Yeah, I think so.
I have like connections with people who do that. They're not very
You have
solid.
connections?
I know, okay. A childhood friend of mine, their family was in that business. So I've heard things that they actually do and they're kind of messed up.
Gotcha.
So spray paint, I was like, if that offends you, lady, you probably should never ever look into what they actually do ever.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And then this is when we see Goldie after she's lost all the weight and taken the potion, basically. This is the first time we're introduced to her.
Right, but
after
we don't
see her
know
in the
about the
psych ward.
potion yet.
No, yeah, we don't know about that.
But
yet.
she has taken it. We find that out later.
And then my next note is bill release. Does that make any sense to you?
I feel like if you don't remember, then it probably isn't important.
Bill release.
What's your next note after
Bill
that?
release. She'll never forgive her. The cat just knocked over Anna's microphone.
Mainly get down. I swear. Every episode. It's just our random cat button, okay?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Push
I
down.
hit the cat button. Sorry, guys.
So basically what happens here is Goldie's like talking to Meryl and she's like, it was all his fault, blah, blah, blah. And then she gets alone with Bruce and then she's telling Bruce like, it's all her fault. It's not your fault at all. I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to stay on Madeline's good side. But really, she's going to stab her in the back.
And then, so Meryl, she's not feeling too good about herself because of... That's fine. Yeah. Sorry, the cat messed up Anna's mic, and so she's adjusting it and trying to get it straightened out.
I fixed it.
So Meryl needs to she wants to feel good about herself. So now we're introduced to her, lover.
Whose lover?
Meryl's. She
Oh,
goes
right.
to that guy's house. And
She has like a 25-year-old guy that she just goes to see, and he breaks up with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has somebody over.
He has somebody over, and he tries to deny it, and then she's like, yeah, I see her naked over there. And he's like, well, this is really your fault.
Yep.
Or no, he basically says, like, you should be thanking me. I'm doing you a favor. And she's like, some favor. It's a very bad scene. It also is a really unnecessary scene. I feel like that story was just a...
I think this story was supposed to be what kind of pushed her over the edge.
Well, you mean what?
Well, because
Bruce Willis to push her over the edge?
No, because then we cut to her driving all crazy in the rainstorm.
Oh, right.
And she's just like losing it. She's kind of just, she's crying. She's swerving in and out of traffic. And,
right. She feels like she's lost it.
Yeah.
She's lost her touch.
And then this is when she she pulls out the card. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go check this out now because I have nothing else to lose, basically.
Right.
There's a shot in here, though, where we're cut to Goldie's apartment and you see her shrine that she has, her death shrine to Meryl's character.
I did not notice that either.
You didn't notice that?
There's a whole shrine.
She's like looking in the mirror and the camera pans out and there's just like pictures of
I
Meryl
do remember
all over,
on the
like
wall.
with her eyes crossed out. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a shrine. That's more like just like psycho weird stuff.
It's her psycho shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to Meryl going to the it's a welcoming looking giant mansion with thunder and lightning in the background, and
It's actually like a pretty ritzy place on the outside.
it's very big.
It looks very California to me. Like
And-
Beverly Hills.
And then my next note is the early 90s had some crazy style.
That's true. The early 90s, I feel like in movies, like my mind automatically wants to go to like Casper, like the house in Casper. There were a lot of like curves and
A lot of curves.
I'm talking about like architecture.
A lot of pastel curves.
Architecture wise.
Yeah.
Are you on the same wavelength or are you talking clothes?
No, I'm talking everything.
Yeah, everything.
But the architecture, yeah, for sure. And the furniture and that kind of stuff too. Like, just all crazy.
Right. It was very bold.
Mm-hmm.
And very like velvet sheen. Anyway.
And then we're introduced to the dog lady.
I don't
That's
know
my
why
next
I said
note.
sheen. What is sheen?
What is sheen?
I'm a little tired.
I think we're all a little tired. And then we're introduced to the dog lady, Anna.
Right, the Dobermans. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Basically, there's some Dobermans, and then there's a lady. And she's
yeah.
wearing a very pretty necklace that covers her everything.
A very pretty necklace that covers her everything. It's basically a necklace that acts as a shirt.
There's
like
a
a
name.
top.
It's like a halter,
Yeah.
but it doesn't tie in the back.
No.
It just hangs on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
I think it's called a halter.
Okay.
Or a breastplate.
Breastplate. Nice. I like that. That's what we're going with. The lady with the breastplate.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to Bruce and Meryl's house where Goldie shows up to convince him. Well, at first, it just kind of looks like she's trying to seduce him or something. Right? When she first gets there.
When she first gets
She's, like,
there, she's
flirting with
crying
him.
and saying, I need to talk to Madeline.
Yeah.
But then she loses the act and actually hits on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we cut back. And
Isn't that the part where she says, like, she's trying to sweet talk him, kind of, and, like, turn him on, but she's saying, like, the most obvious things.
Yeah.
That was that part.
Yeah.
Where she's literally saying, like, sensual.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like super like, yeah, literal stuff. And,
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Meryl and we see the box. So my next note is what's in the box?
Right. With the ankh on it.
An egg.
Yeah.
That's
You
my
open the box and it has an egg inside from Harry Potter.
And then my next note is, it's just magic tonic potion.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It had layers. Like an onion.
Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or like a Russian nesting doll.
Except those are cooler.
They're cooler than that box with magical de-aging potion in it.
I'm sorry, but if your eternal life is that package, I don't really want it.
That's locked with a dagger.
Right.
That's a pretty sturdy lock.
They were going for like subtle Egyptian vibes on the
Yeah.
outside. Because the ankh is the Egyptian symbol for eternal life.
But yeah, so there's the de-aging potion in there. And they're talking about the cost. And my next note is, what is the cost? And my next note is, ow!
Right. She really, like, that scream was convincing.
Because she just pokes her in the finger with a dagger.
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere. And the noise she makes is hilarious.
It was good. It was very believable. Actually, I thought everybody's reaction when they got poked was pretty, like, spot on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, now a warning. And then she looks and goes, now a warning? After she's just taken the potion.
Good. It was funny because, like, some of the acting in this movie was terrible, but there were moments like that were just, like, real conversation. and it was
this movie had its
amazing.
moments for sure.
It had moments.
And then this is where we see her de-aging in front of the mirror
Right.
with that trivia that you mentioned about pushing the breasts up and stuff to make everything look perkier and whatnot.
That part was so funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then we cut back to the other house where we see Goldie seducing him into murder. That's my next note. This is where we find out that she's like fully like, no. And then she goes into the full murder plot. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is exactly how it needs to happen.
It's really funny that they go down that whole tangent too, because her plan is not what ends up happening at all.
Not at all.
So it's just like, it's very visual, but for no reason.
Yeah. And then I made a note of this because I liked it. There's a scene where Meryl gets home and she's walking up the stairs, and the way that the camera like pans around as Bruce is watching her, like he's watching her go up the stairs, but the camera's panning around. Do you remember that scene at all?
Yes.
It's just I just love the way that particular shot was filmed. And I wanted to mention that as he's watching her go up the stairs.
Okay.
And then he goes up there and they start arguing. And then my next note is that's some fall down the stairs.
Yeah, he poked her down the stairs.
It's now look, is it the most unrealistic fall that somebody would take down a flight of stairs? Yes.
It also is the most violent option.
Yeah, she was basically like a pile of goo at the bottom of the stairs.
Right.
Which wouldn't happen.
It was very brutal.
Yeah.
She lands in a very twisted, awkward, gross position. And then he checks her pulse just in case, even though she's clearly not alive.
Yeah, all of her limbs are in her head. Everything on her is facing the opposite direction or bent the opposite direction it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And then he immediately calls Helen.
Yeah. He's on the phone with Helen. And as he's on the phone with Helen, we see, blurry in the background, Madeline's body. And at first, it stays there. Mm-hmm. There's a moment where he's talking to Helen on the phone saying, oh my god, I killed her, I pushed her down the stairs. And
she's like, why did you call me first and not the cops?
Right, they're having a whole conversation. And then we see Madeline's body start to twist and turn back into its old position, except for the head, which is stuck facing backwards.
Her head's backwards.
And she walks backwards, facing Bruce to him.
You tell it, Anna.
And is standing behind him with her head clearly in the wrong direction.
Clear, yes. Very clear.
With a very, like, prudent look on her face. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I'm not dead. And she taps him on the shoulder and he shrieks like a little girl, of course, because, like,
I mean,
if you saw that, that would be pretty scary. Yeah. And he has to tell her, hey, your head's on backwards. Yeah, yeah. Basically.
And then she fixes it. She spins it. She doesn't fix it.
I actually think that might have been my favorite part of the whole movie.
That sequence? Yeah. That's funny. Well, because it was even like that sequence still worked like when they went to the hospital. Right. Right? And then like the doctor's checking her out and everything, and she can't feel anything obviously, and he's like, yeah, this shouldn't happen, which is funny because he's like, I'm going to go get a second opinion. Right? He leaves the room. Right, but then he just runs away. When Bruce, like after she passes out, and Bruce goes out looking for a doctor, all the doctors are in a room working on him. Oh, they're working on that guy? Yeah. That's they're funny. Working on the doctor, yeah. I never noticed that. That's good. And I said, their doctor's dead. And then we cut down to the hospital morgue. No. He says, he goes back into the room and she's gone. And then the nurse is like, oh, they moved her down to the morgue because she's dead, basically. And he's like, the morgue, she'll hate that. And then as he's going, this part killed me too. As he's going down to the morgue, you see the sisters floating down the hallway.
Right, the nuns.
The nuns, yeah. They're just floating down the hallway past him. That killed me. I thought that was hilarious.
I thought it was dumb.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
But this movie's kind of like that. It's like great in a dumb way.
Mm-hmm.
And dumb in a great way, I guess. It's like painful to watch.
It's very 90s.
Yeah.
The comedy, the humor, like the music.
There's nobody to root for.
I think they want you rooting for Bruce's character.
Right, but he's so like squeamish and such a baby.
Yeah.
Like I have a really hard time rooting for any of them.
Yeah. And then
I guess squeamish is the wrong word. He's not really squeamish. He works with dead people, but you know what I mean? Like he's just kind of a pushover like the whole time.
yeah. And then we cut to, no, then he goes off about how it's a miracle that she's alive and it's a sign that he needs to be with her and stay with her. And
He kind of goes with it.
yeah, he thinks that it's like some like grand intervention.
Right.
Like, oh, this is a sign from God. Like, this is a miracle. Like, God is telling me to stay with you.
Yeah. And he's trying to fix her up too. And I think he sees the opportunity of like, oh, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because he's fixing her body up. Because she died, her body starts to like.
Yeah, she's not supposed to die.
She was not supposed to die a violent death.
Yeah.
And they even, the Liesel character, she tells her, like, be careful with this new body. And that's the warning that she mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So since she fell down the stairs and broke her entire body, now her body is dead, but she's stuck living in it.
Yes,
for the rest of her life, which is
Yeah.
eternity.
She's a zombie now.
Exactly. She's not exactly.
She doesn't need the brains, but she's basically a zombie.
Although a trivia that I skipped is that in the weird therapy room,
Yeah.
there is a brain on the table that says abnormal.
Nice.
And it's a Frankenstein reference.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, missed that one.
I missed it too. I think I saw it and my brain was like, that's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So.
And then we have some like cut back and forth between Goldie trying to figure out what's going on, like she's sneaking around the house and stuff. And I thought it was funny how she's like wearing like a beret, like she's wearing all black and she's wearing a beret, sneaking around, crawling on the ground, almost gets ran over by the car when he leaves.
Oh yeah, and the car like came right up to her.
Mm-hmm.
She tries to hide, and her way of hiding is laying down in the middle of the road.
In the middle of the driveway, yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, it worked.
It worked? Kind of.
It almost killed her, but it worked.
I'm just saying, like, if you're sneaking up to somebody's house and their car starts coming, the way to hide isn't by laying down in the middle of the driveway.
It sounds like some sound logic.
What she should have done is, like, hidden in the bushes. Or just not been there at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last thing she knew, he was telling her that he pushed her down the stairs and she was dead.
Right.
And then he freaked out and the call got disconnected.
Right.
So she's trying to figure out what's going on. And then we cut to the end. Some stuff happens and we see Bruce spray painting her, cleaning her up, making her look alive. Meryl's character making her look alive. And
right, and she's acting like she's getting her nails done.
Yeah. And then Helen shows up and she's yelling like, where is she? We gotta get rid of her. What did you do? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then this is where things start getting a little bit more crazy. Meryl comes downstairs, ends up shooting her in the gut.
I mean, there's some banter before that happens, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Before that happens, she goes and grabs a shotgun, and you see Bruce following her, and he takes a double take to the gun case.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he does the double take because the gun is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of guns.
Yeah, they did.
For living in Beverly Hills area.
For
like,
like
that's what it seems like.
Hollywood celeb couple.
Yeah.
But after she gets shot through the stomach, she falls into the fountain, and then they're like getting ready to like wrap her up to get rid of the body and stuff. And then this is where we find out that she took the potion too, as she gets back up.
Right. She's laying in the water. It's very violent. It's very shocking. But then she stands up and she just has this huge hole going through her entire midriff.
Mm-hmm. This is where I noted I think they have the same doctor.
We didn't even talk about the way the potion looked. How it was like
looked like a gas almost.
Well, it was like purpley, but then the way she like stood it up on the mirror every time, I felt like that was referencing something. But I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, the way that it would just like kind of like hover and spin.
It spun.
Didn't it?
I think it just like stood there.
Did it just stand there?
Yeah.
I thought it like slowly spun a little bit. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, continue.
Okay. The next note is shovel to the dome.
Right. Helen hit Madeline in the head, and her head goes backwards again. It's like backwards and upside down. It was very gross.
Yeah, and then this is when they get into the shovel fight. And Bruce is like, I'm done with this. He heads upstairs.
Right. He's going upstairs to like pack at this point because he's like, these broads be crazy.
Yeah. And then this part is where we learn why they have beef with each other.
I feel like we learned that in the beginning.
No, this is when we learn like the reason why Meryl's character takes all of her.
Oh, right. They start talking about all their childhood stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Basically, they've been rivals their entire lives because they wanted to be friends, but neither of them could, like, do that.
Well, from the sound of it is because Meryl's character was poor, and Goldie's character, like, kind of made fun of her for it when she was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, she acted like she wasn't good enough to come to her house and stuff.
Right.
Something like that. I don't know. But they make up here. So now the two of them are basically best friends. Like, they're like, okay, we got that out of the way. Now we're going to actually legitimately be friends. Mm-hmm. And they have Bruce. They're like, we need to keep him around so that he could keep our makeup and our appearances up. Right?
Right.
So he fixes him up, but he's like, look, I'm going to do this for you, and then I'm out. I'm leaving. And so they try to poison him, knock him out. Not like poison, but try to knock him out with a drink. He's not drinking the drink, so they hit him over the head with some vases.
I think it was just one vase.
I thought they both knocked him out with a vase, separately.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah. And then he wakes up at the witch doctor's house.
Is that what you're calling her?
I don't know what she is.
I got very, like, vampiric vibes.
Yeah.
It was, the whole movie was like they were vampires, except that there wasn't any blood involved or sharp teeth.
The dog lady with the breastplate.
Her name is Liesel.
And he's confused, and she pricks his finger, and he makes a sound. Mm-hmm. Ow. But I feel like at this point, she wants him to drink the potion because he's really good with makeup and stuff. Right?
She wants him to be all the dead people who are alive's surgeon.
Yeah. And I feel like at this point, though, she gets a little too intense when she wants him to drink. Because she's basically like mad scientist laughing and like, drink it! Ah! When he's like, this is a little too intense
He's like,
for me.
you want me
like,
to do what for forever? No.
Yeah. He's like, well, he's basically like, I don't want to have to be around those two forever. That's what it boils down to.
Though. It's all of it.
Yeah.
You know, like she's saying like, you can help us forever. And he's like, mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Like, this is weird.
And my next note is, hell of a throw with that knife.
Who threw the knife?
Bruce. He grabs the little dagger and he throws it all the way across the room and hits like the emergency, like whatever emergency button that was to make like an alarm go off or something.
Yep.
That was a hell of a throw. No wonder why he started doing nothing but action movies after this. And then he's like going through the party and we see people like, he bumps into people like Andy Warhol and Marilyn Monroe. We see Elvis and
I didn't see Marilyn.
She was talking to Andy Warhol.
Okay.
And then he's trying to escape. He goes upstairs. He runs back into the dogs. Dogs chase him into like a elevator, which he takes up to the roof. Mm-hmm. And my next note is, that's one hell of a rooftop.
It's basically like the top of a castle.
Yeah. And he's trying to escape. Of course, it's stormy and rainy and everything. And he slips on the roof and then he's dangling from a gutter. Mm-hmm. And he still has a potion. Like, drink the potion, drink the potion. He's like, nah, I'm not drinking this potion. And he drops the potion and he's basically like, all right, I'm at peace now. I'm ready to die. And he slips off the gutter and he falls into the swimming pool.
Right. There's like a glass roof with the Michelangelo painting on the top. Mm-hmm. It's like the creation or something. It's the one where God is touching Adam's finger.
Yeah. And then in the pool area, who I thought might have been Mick Jagger was in there.
I think that's right.
I think it was Mick Jagger in there. And then when he's out by the cars, I believe it is, outside we see Dean Martin.
I don't know who that is. The name's familiar.
Dean Martin, the actor who died, the famous actor who died in a car crash way back in the day.
Okay.
But anyway, and then he gets away, and then we cut to 37 years later. There's that big time jump. Where you said 2029?
Right, we're almost to the end now.
And then we're at his funeral.
Right, we're at Dr. Ernest Manville's Bruce Willis's funeral. Mm-hmm. And he has lived a totally different life since then. There's a line that the pastor says that Ernest used to say that life really starts at 50. And he's like, well, we don't know much about him before then, that, yeah. So I guess for him it's true. But
he said that he would tell wise tale, or like he would tell stories of like
the undead living in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but they're basically like, he lived an amazing life after that. Mm. Like, and they're really pushed the fact that like everything he accomplished, he'll really be like eternal with everything he accomplished.
Right.
And then they're the two Helen and Madeline are in the back just basically laughing and like, oh, this is a joke. And then they leave and we catch them outside and we find out that they're just completely falling apart. Mm-hmm. Like,
they fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Actually, Helen starts to fall down the stairs and then Meryl Streep, Madeline, pushes her the same way that Dr. Ernest had pushed her down the stairs. And the way they fall is like pretty... It's just so funny because they're wearing their pumps and they are just like teetering on the top edge for hours.
Pretty cheesy.
Before somebody pushes them. And then, so Mad pushes Helen and then Helen grabs her so they both fall down. and their bodies just completely fall apart.
And that is the end of the movie.
Well, it's not, I mean, Helen asks Mad if she remembers where they parked the car.
Oh yeah, while their just heads are just spinning like upside down, or their heads are just spinning on the ground.
Yeah.
They're
I liked that line because it reminded me of Dude, Where's My Car?
That's classic.
That's where my brain went. I also want to say, though, like earlier in the movie, I liked the line that Liesl said about how they're creatures of the spring. That made no sense, but I still liked it.
Fair enough.
She said she follows the spring.
Yeah.
I just got into town. I follow the spring. We're creatures of the spring, you and I. I said string.
It's pretty late.
It is late, and I'm getting tired. I can't talk straight.
Now the movie's over.
Yes, let's continue on. We're almost done. Home stretch.
Do. Google Play reviews.
Every time you do that, you make a face, and it's so cute, and I never expect it. Yeah, it's good.
Goldie, Merle, and Bruce are hysterical in this dark comedy about vanity and the price one will pay to look young forever. Awesome CGI effects for 1992. Cult classic. 5 stars.
One thing I will give this movie is that it makes you want to not have eternal life.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't paint it in a pretty light, right?
It's not just that, but like just the people that they are is like so atrocious. Anyway, continue.
I've loved this movie from the time I was a kid, and throughout the years, I still watch it to this day. I know the lines from beginning to end and back. Love this movie. It's just awesome. 5 stars.
I don't want to be friends with that person.
Seems pretty philosophical. Uneasy to understand right away that what the whole film tried to express. 4 stars. And then I'd like to do a couple negative reviews, so here's a negative review. Movie never played. It only stayed on buffer and screen. 1 star. Did not enjoy it. 1 star. No 2 stars. No 3 stars. The rest are 4 and 5. People love this movie. Here's one last 5 star. Old as hell. But pretty good. 4 stars.
That's a really good review. I like that review. Because it's a play on the movie.
All right, Anna, what is our 5? What is our star? What would you rank this movie out of 5 stars?
I give it 2 out of 5 stars.
2.
Yep.
2. Whoa.
It might be my lowest rating so far.
That is your lowest rating so far.
The reason is that the funny thing is, like, while we were watching it, there have been other movies we watched that I really felt like dragged, and this movie did not drag. I was entertained the whole time.
Okay.
I just didn't like any of the characters or the story. I did not like this movie. I could not empathize with any of it. So, it's just my opinion. I know that there are people who probably really love this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to them. But it's just not for me. I am not sorry that I watched it.
Okay.
I'm glad I watched it. I just never want to watch it again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I forget, do we do half stars? Is that a thing with us?
No.
No?
I'm not doing half stars.
Okay, if we're just doing solid stars, I will give this 3 stars. Like, it's okay. That's my 3 star. Mm-hmm. My 3 star is it's okay. Yeah. Okay to good is my 3 star.
The reason
4 stars great, 5 stars amazing.
The reason I said 2 stars is because I kind of look at the stars as points almost.
Yeah.
And it was entertaining, 1 star, and it did make me laugh at certain points. So okay. I feel like those are kind of my reasons.
Fair enough. I'd give it 3 stars. I thought it was a good movie. Not great. I don't care to ever watch it again like Anna. had its weak points. I obviously some parts hit with me that didn't hit with Anna, like some of the comedy and stuff. So yeah,
There were parts that made me cringe.
like because it was so bad or cheesy or just like gross or
I was like slightly grossed out,
yeah.
but not in like a really grossed out way, just in like an ew kind of way.
It's time for who's your favorite character?
Nobody.
Nobody? You have to pick somebody.
I'm gonna choose the character named Anna
Who's
that was in the movie for 2 seconds. Michelle Johnson.
Anna. Come on now. Gotta pick one of the core casts.
All right.
At least somebody that had a little screen time.
All right.
Even if it's the witch doctor. Like somebody who had some screen time.
Can I choose Mick Jagger?
No. Can't choose Mick Jagger. I mean, this cast was actually pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have to think about it.
I mean, last week's episode, I wasn't like, well, I mean, if I have to pick one, I'll pick this person.
Who's your favorite?
Bruce Willis's character.
You know who my favorite character is?
Yeah.
The Dobermans.
I'll allow that. I'll allow that. They help the plot move forward.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
That's how little I connected with this movie, guys. I normally am so excited to choose a favorite character, but this one
is not at all.
I just no.
No, man, we're yawning. Remake.
This
is the remake section. I'm not saying they're making a remake.
Okay.
But this is a section where are they making a remake? Have they done any of the blah, 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 blah? Up to this point, there was a rumor floating around, but that rumor appears to just be a fabrication. So as of right now, no remakes or sequels or anything of any kind with this movie. It's just, it is what it is.
I feel like if there's not one, you don't need to say it, though.
I just feel like we should hit all the points.
But it's really not a point because there isn't a remake.
Well, yeah, but I still got to talk about the category. I can't skip categories.
You can if they're irrelevant.
No, because of what if somebody's like, hey, you missed this category.
Then we tell them it was irrelevant.
Well,
let's talk about that one when we're both more awake.
What are we currently into, Anna?
Well, now we're into Severance.
Severance. We're both watching Severance.
I want to watch Coda.
Yeah.
I'm kind of procrastinating on it for some reason, but I really want to watch it.
Yeah, I haven't really been like... Nothing really new for me from last week. I haven't had much time to take in anything, really.
Yeah.
You know? Been so busy.
Our life is just like... parenting, working more. One
fun thing we did was when we went to the beach on the car ride there, it's like a 2-hour-long car ride for us. Anna brought a bunch of old mixed CDs. So
yeah, CDs from like the beginning of our relationship 13 years
back
ago.
Where we were used CDs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we don't even use CDs anymore. but I brought them. Well, we've been cleaning that stuff. You know, things we don't use anymore. We've been kind of getting rid of. So I brought a handful of them just to be like, hey, what's on this? Let's find out. And it turns out our music tastes have changed quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
A lot. Both of us.
I feel like 70% of the songs I had on those mixes were like R&B.
Mm-hmm. We belted out some of them, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Angel of Mine. We both sang that song.
Oh, yeah. classics. Some of them
Added it to my
classics.
Spotify playlist.
But yeah, I guess we just both started Severance tonight.
Mm-hmm. I watched 2.5 episodes. I'm probably gonna finish it before I go to bed. The last one.
I was only able to watch one episode because I was watching it while working, so I had to work.
Yeah.
But
it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's a new thing. So update on that.
Ben
next
Stiller
week.
did it.
Yeah, I know that.
That's pretty cool.
I like Ben Stiller as a director.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which I think is underrated.
Same.
Yeah, and so far this is pretty good. All right, Anna, this is it. We've reached the finale. What is our movie for next week?
I have chosen
Good, the anticipation.
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom. Oh my goodness.
I've never seen it.
Mr. Mom?
Because I was having a really hard time choosing my movie this week, and I asked a friend for help, and they suggested this one.
1983's
and
Mr. Mom.
They told me a couple of quotes from it, and the quotes made me laugh, so I was like, you know what? Let's do this one. I hope we can find it to watch.
You know how with Robert Pattinson, people are like, what, Twilight Boy being Batman? When Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, 1989 Batman, people were like, what, Mr. Mom is Batman? That was a thing. So
well,
I'm looking forward to this, honestly. This is going to be awesome. It's freaking written by John Hughes.
Have you seen it?
Not that I remember.
I definitely have not.
I feel like I have seen it years and years and years and years ago. But I can't say for sure if I have. So it's going to be fresh to me regardless.
I basically have no clue what it's about except what the title implies.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to watch it. The quote that Jessica told me was, you gave a baby chili? And I asked her, was there poop everywhere? And she was like, this smells everywhere. So that's what convinced me that we needed to watch this movie.
And that's what it's going to be on next week's Classic Movie Night.
You mean classic movie night?
No, I mean classic.
What?
On our current logo, there's an exclamation point at the end of classic.
There's not anymore though, right?
I don't know.
Did you change it? I think you changed that.
I don't know. Let me look real quick. We could probably do this part offline, but
you just made it.
It's still on there.
Let me see.
Because that's the name of the podcast. See?
Right.
It's part of it. It's just it is what it is. I don't know why I did that originally, but I did that. That's a thing.
Okay.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
We're hyped for classic movies.
Yes. Like yes. Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom, man. Death becomes her.
This is also...
We're definitely
Mr. Mom is a 90s movie, too. I was thinking after this, maybe we could go back a little further.
It's 80s. 83.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. The back of her... I was looking at her VHS tape, and it had a different date on the back.
That's probably... Yeah, probably just, because they didn't have VHSs in 83, so...
They didn't?
No, they used, beta tapes in 83 or something. I don't think VHSs were... standard home VHS. They might have very early versions of it or something, but... Yeah, I don't think that's much of a thing, man.
There's projectors?
Projectors were things. Hang on. Okay. We're doing some research. First... Oops.
You tried to spell first with a U instead of an I.
VHS tapes. What does that say?
That says...
So the first ever was released in 1976. So when did it become... When did VHS become...
It's right there. It's the top one.
And early 80s. So Okay, I guess by this time they were out there. I was wrong.
But now we know the late 70s
But I mean-
and early 80s was when VHS was invented.
But I mean,
Well, when it
in
became
the early
popular.
80s, it still cost almost $400 for a VHS cassette player. So it probably wasn't like super popular. Either way, that's neither here nor
Yeah,
there.
back then that's a lot of money too.
Yeah.
That's like $1,000 now.
Yeah, pretty much. So next week, Mr. Bomb. Think we should wrap this up?
Yeah.
Say bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Meet Dad. He's a real man.
Not a beer? 7 o'clock in the morning. Scotch?
An all-out go-getter. But when his job pulled the plug on him,
I'm fine. You son of a dude!
they threw a switch.
Go, running late. Yeah, okay. Good luck.
And he became the lady of the house. It sure looks like he got a terrific deal.
Honey, if you call and I'm not here, I'll be at the gym or at the gun club.
Exercise and relaxation. Good home cooking. Arts and crafts.
Kenny, don't paint your sister.
And fun and games with the neighbors.
Are these any good?
We got 2 pair. We've got plenty.
That's when he was forced to face the bare facts. His new job is a mother. Michael Keaton
Where's Bobby keep the extra diapers?
and Terry Garr in Mr. Mom, a mother of a comedy.